Welcome to GFB Express. I'm your host, Garrett McClintock, and today we are talking about the Big Ten and everyone's favorite topic, conference realignment. And today I want to talk about that the Big Ten does not have a travel problem. For the last year, since the day that USC and UCLA announced their intention to leave the Pac-12 and move to the Big Ten, it has been said over and over and over that the Big Ten needed to add Oregon, got the Ducks Autzen Stadium behind me, and Washington in order to reduce the travel on the Big Ten. So I just want to say again, and I've been saying it since last July, the Big Ten does not have a travel problem. USC and UCLA do. USC and UCLA are the ones they got to hoof it all across the country. Okay. They have to be the ones who, they're making the long trips. It sucks. It's hard on their athletes. But for everyone else in the Big Ten, all they're doing is instead of, playing one West Coast team in their non-conference schedule in hoops or football, they are just going to, the years that they have to, well, they're all going to have to either travel most likely to USC or UCLA in basketball. Every year they'll be making one trip to LA for hoops, probably. Well, actually, maybe not. Probably every other year because they'll swing and do both games. But those years in football and basketball where they have to make the trek out there, it's not a big deal. They make one West Coast trip. That's it. They're done. And then the rest of it is their normal conference schedule that they've had for the last decade. USC and UCLA are the only ones that have the problem, and they are also the new guys. So they are not able to come in and be the ones that are going to dictate to the rest of this league what's going on. And what we are seeing with the ACC now is Florida State and Clemson, Miami, they're not happy with that grant of rights. They expanded for the sake of expansion and got to 14 teams because they thought that taking out the Big East was going to make it better for them to get a bigger TV deal. So they took out their threat, their competition in the area, and they added teams that were of minimal value. Teams like Boston College, Syracuse. They took these teams at minimal value for the sake of expansion. And as a result, they now are locked into this grant of rights. They signed it for way too long. They took away all their flexibility. We could do a whole multiple of episodes on that. It's not going to get broken, at least for the next few years. At some point, it'll be worth it to fork over the money, but not for now. They took over, they invited these teams, and now they're handicapped. So I do not understand why Oregon and Washington, it is presumed, and I'm not saying that the Big Ten can't decide that they do want to move forward with this. They very well may. But the Big Ten has a lot of crap going on right now. They still don't have their TV deal figured out. They announced it, but then it also came out that Kevin Warren sold the rights to the Big 12 championship game when he didn't even have permission to, because the Big Ten network owns all of the rights to every Big Ten event and then sublicenses them. So Fox owns the Big Ten network. Fox owns everything for the Big Ten, and they have to sub that out. And they didn't give Kevin Warren permission to give that out, but he did. So that's an issue that has to be resolved. And now with the Big Ten expanding more, why would even if they're coming in at a reduced share, it's like, oh, Oregon, Washington, they're going to come in at a reduced share. Is it a permanent reduced share? Because I can guarantee you that the Northwesterns and the Purdue's and the Illinois, the lower ends of the Big Ten conference in terms of brand value, the Marylands, the Rutgers, why would they ever agree to letting somebody in at a permanently reduced share and open that door up for themselves to get screwed over by Ohio State, Michigan, and Penn State and USC, the biggest brands in the conference? It makes no sense. There is no reason for them to take that risk on. And I've talked about this with some other people. I feel like 16 is kind of that threshold. We've never seen a league of 16 teams or more last for any duration of time. The only times it's been attempted, we saw the Southern Conference do it twice. And what happened was the SEC broke off, the ACC broke off. We saw the WAC try it in the 90s. It lasted for 3 years before the conference was cut in half and the Mountain West split off because the league couldn't agree on how to do divisions and how to do scheduling. If going from 16 to 18 feels like a tipping point to me, the Big Ten is in that sweet spot. If Oregon and Washington added that much value, they would have added them last year. It would have been done already. The rumor on the street is that they do not want to add them because they don't want to be seen as killing the Pac-12. You already did it. You took the Big Ten and you took USC and UCLA. They can't get a TV deal. The Big Ten, you already killed the Pac-12. It's done. It's dead. She's over. So now going forward, what are you going to do? You could take Oregon and Washington, but now that actually makes your travel worse because you have now multiple trips for everyone else in the league. That just adds headache. And hoofing it, yes, it's a little bit less of a flight, but still LA to Seattle, that's hoofing it. It's still a 2.5 hour-ish flight, whatever, 3 hours in the air, depending on the weather. That's not short. And also that it's if you're flying, the trip to LA is not bad. Well, one, it's LA. Every Big Ten school has a decent number of alumni out there. It's nice. The weather's better, so it makes sense to want to go out to LA once, twice a year. I get that. But the trip out to LA, you're taking one flight out, one flight back. You're staying in a hotel for 3 nights, playing USC on Thursday, UCLA on Friday, heading home. Everything's good. When you're flying out, Eugene is not really central. So your smaller sports, you can't, you can charter. You're going to have to charter a flight into Eugene and then get another flight or take the bus an hour and a half up to Portland and then go fly again up to Seattle, packing your bags multiple times. They are not travel partners. They're not close enough to bus from one campus to the other after you fly out. So the Big Ten may decide to do it. I'm not saying that that's never going to happen, but the slam dunk is not there, because if Oregon is coming in with an ego, Washington is coming in with an ego. Now you look at the Purdue's, the Illinois, the Indianas, the Marylands, the Rutgers, these teams that are, traditionally towards the bottom half of the table in the Big Ten. And now they're feeling pushed out, right? Like they are feeling like, you don't want to introduce anything and you have to get them to vote on doing this. And is it going to add more money? Because if it's not going to add more money, then at what point does it become not worth it to where you say, hey, like there's too many competing interests here. 18 teams is too big. Let's just do what the WAC did. Okay, let's just split this out. And, we're going to go and we're going to make our own conference. And we're going to grab like 2 more teams. The ACC's done. And so we're going to just kind of reformulate this entire damn thing. And Oregon, Washington, USC, UCLA, Ohio State, Penn State, Michigan, Wisconsin, and, Virginia and North Carolina, we're just going to go make this new 10 or 11 team league and we're going to cut the dead weight. You don't want to open up that opportunity if you are a school. So there is this potential of it being extremely damaging long-term for some of these schools. And I don't think that's something that they want to step in.